as we thought the vaccine push couldn't get any crazier, we're now learning that some people are starting to double up on their doses willingly. According to a new report from Reuters, travelers coming from abroad are getting vaccinated for a second time in hopes that some extra protection against the Delta variant will happen. Now, keep in mind, public health officials haven't even determined whether the boosters are needed or effective, but individuals are choosing to take the step anyway. Meantime, the CDC is now recommending that pregnant people get the jab, and according to new evidence about its safety and effectiveness. But something tells me it's kind of hard to trust the science when the same experts say pregnant people rather than pregnant women. Join me now from Nashville, Tennessee, editor at the Daily Wire and host of the Ian Haworth Show, Ian Haworth. Ian, it's great to see you. So, Ian, these people that are telling us pregnant people want us to follow the science when they don't even follow science itself. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, this is all just a messaging issue. I think almost setting the debate over the vaccine aside, the CDC has just destroyed their own credibility from the start. I mean, how many times have we heard different messages on really any element of COVID-19, whether it be masks? We've been told they're good, bad, we should have 2 masks, we should wear them even if we're vaccinated. This is just a matter of the CDC being completely incapable of providing a consistent set of messages. And so, of course, people are going to question it, especially when, again, this is a vaccine that's under FDA emergency approval. And so the fact that people have access to it, I think, is great. I think people having the choice to take it if they wish is great. But the fact that the CDC has gone one step further with the Biden administration, basically demonizing anyone who has even a question about it, I think is a real problem. And they've made a rod for their own backs by just telling the American people both sides of the coin at all times, and then they're being shocked when people don't follow the guidance. I think they've made a rod for their own back with this case.
Yeah, and I'm for people making their own decision if they want to willingly go get the vaccine. Again, if they think maybe there's a possibility it's going to offer them some protection, okay. Hopefully there aren't any consequences or side effects to that. That's fine. It's up to them. It's their body, their choice. But that being said, we do take issue with the fact that they're constantly being so pushy with this, and these now the crazy mandatory vaccine passports to get into restaurants in New York. And the reason we talk about that is because we know New York and California seem to lead the way when it comes to crazy policies, and other blue states, for the most part, take a lot of notes on how to operate. And so that's why I think it's important that we discuss it.
Absolutely. I mean, it's everything with especially medical decisions has to come down to individual choice. The fact is now in the United States, any adult who wants to get the vaccine can take it. It's not like we're at the start of the pandemic where we didn't really know anything about COVID-19. It was a lot of mystery. It was a lot of uncertainty. We know about as much as we're going to know. We have all the tools to fight it if we wish to. And so people just need to be allowed to get back to their lives. The fact that the government is basically separating people into the unvaccinated and the vaccinated, changing messaging so it's a pandemic of the unvaccinated, really demonizing people who want to make their own decisions, when if you want to get vaccinated, you can get vaccinated. There's nothing stopping you from doing so. And I think the fact that we're separating people in society based on a medical decision that should be entirely private for a virus that for the vast majority of people isn't as dangerous as they're making out to be. I think often when we talk about COVID-19, people are referring to, oh, what about the smallpox vaccine? The smallpox kills, in the 1800s at least, killed 60% of those who caught it. We're certainly not facing the same kind of dangers with COVID-19. I think everyone needs to just calm down a little bit, look at the data we have, look at the tools we have, and just leave people alone.
Absolutely. All good points. And I wanted to bring this up. On Friday, while the disaster in Afghanistan was unfolding, Biden seemed to give a lot of attention to the schools and superintendents who were defying mask mandates. I find that prioritizing that over what's happening in Afghanistan seems just not a good decision. And so I get that people can walk and chew gum at the same time. It just seems like the Biden administration and Biden himself seem to have mixed up priorities.
Well, especially when he then runs away to Camp David to hide from everything. Jen Psaki is on vacation. Journalists trying to reach out to her for comment were getting an out-of-office notification back. They're really trying to avoid anything to do with Afghanistan. He was forced to give an address yesterday because European leaders gave an address before him. This is just a colossal failure on the Biden administration's part, but a failure we could all see coming. He announced they were going to withdraw months ahead, so the Taliban had plenty of time to plan their attack. They didn't support the Afghan forces, and so they were just left without air support, without technical support. They weren't able to service their own airplanes, for example. Anyone with a functioning brain could see this coming. It's just, unfortunately, Joe Biden doesn't have one.
Yeah. We can talk about this all day, is that there are many conservatives, and even President Trump had said, it is time to withdraw at some point, and that the United States shouldn't be the world's policeman. Okay, we get that. But there's a right way and a wrong way of doing that. And the Biden administration showed us and demonstrated the wrong way to do it. And I mean, they're getting hammered from all sides. It's not just Republicans against Democrats here. This is people from all around have a lot to say about it, because we've seen the heartbreaking images. There's been still no real strategy on this exit articulated, and what the future for Afghanistan. No one's given us a vision here.
Well, absolutely, but no vision is kind of the Biden administration's way of doing everything. I think it's fine to have a debate on whether we should leave. I think there are a lot of conservatives who believe we should, a lot of people who don't. I'm one of the voices that don't think we should leave at all. But if it's okay to have that debate, but the way it's been done, as you said, is a completely bipartisan agreement. The way it's done is just completely botched. Just the withdrawal, the images we're seeing, people clinging to planes and then falling to their deaths, is just appalling. And the Biden administration is shocked because even the US media, like CNN, is criticizing them. People on MSNBC are refusing to accept the idea that it was Trump's fault, or if it's the Afghan forces' fault. This is Biden's fault. And I think he's suddenly realizing that there is a line that can be crossed where he goes too far, where his colossal failure is just impossible to hide from. I think it's just unfortunate that it came with the impact Afghanistan is going to have on the world now. We're going to see a resurgence in terrorism in the region. And the United States just doesn't have a foothold in that part of the world now that we fought for so long to find. Unfortunately, I think the impact it's going to have long term is going to far outweigh the benefit of people waking up to the fact that Biden doesn't really know what he's talking about.
Yeah, and then the message that this sends out to our enemies and our allies, it's demonstrated weakness on our behalf, and it's really terrible. And we'll continue to keep an eye on it. Well, Ian, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Coming up next, MSNBC literally had on a one-on-one interview with the Taliban spokesperson, and I'm serious. MRC TV's Eric Shiner joins me after the break with more. Don't go away.